Hello again and welcome back to Project Planetree. This episode is going to be about the energy plan, which has overwhelmingly been our biggest request. And it should be, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of other things going on, like our windows are on order and should be in the next couple of weeks, and I'm working on the solar panel design today. But let's go over the energy plan and how it fits with the main goal, which is, again, no sales, meaning originally I said I may get a stability cell. Push that back a little bit further. I probably won't even go with that because I think I got a better idea. No diesel, meaning all diesel's gone. We're going to come out of the gate with a diesel generator because we don't want to be victims, but after 4,000 miles that's gone too. And no stopping to charge. No stopping to charge means we can get from point to point, charge once we're there, that's fine. But no stopping because we don't have the energy to get where we need to be. And that includes a passage as well. So let's take a look and let's show you what I figured out so far. So the boat is about 18,000 pounds and 30 feet long. She's 35 by the time you add the swim platform, and she's a third of her length and width. So it hurts us on displacement, but it's just something we have to work around. When it comes to the basics, she has all the things you would expect a boat of her class: a berthing, a galley head, command bridge, wheelhouse, fantail, and swim platform. Those things will be fully equipped as you would expect. The not so basic features, some off the top of my head, it'll have a washer and dryer, and it'll have a stabilizers, smart controls, and a thing called 360 Live, which is something we'll talk about in a later episode. Pretty cool stuff. As far as mechanical features, the most noteworthy thing is that she'll have a water maker, and we had to because she had a 120-gallon water tank that we had to get rid of to make room for the generator, because the generator weighed 800 pounds and we had to have one. So some of the not so basic nav controls include an AIS transponder, so we can see and be seen. A remote control so we can walk around deck and control the boat during docking. And the four down below not only are used for navigation, but also are inputs to the autonomous pilot, not the autopilot, but this is a system that also has the ability to do course changes and speed changes should the captain fail to do so. It looks at the depth of the water and across the water for threats. As far as the energy plan, it will have a 24 kilowatt motor. I'm thinking that it's going to be about 18 kilowatts on average as far as the continuous drain. And your average day trip is going to, which would last about 5 hours. People, when you ask them, what their average trip, they'll tell you 8 hours. But the reality is they're not 8 hours actually underway, and especially on the Great Loop. They typically is between 4 to 6 hours. And this means that, it'll get us 40 miles and still have 45 miles in reserve and require 4 banks to do so. So these are the methods of energy production we decided to go with. I didn't go with wind and kite because it just wasn't enough boxes checked for us to move forward. It's not that I wouldn't go with it. It's just that, I just don't need it. So enough on that. So looking at the hull. The hull is, you can see the layout. These black lines represent waterproof, they're waterproof compartments, and the bottom is a solid filled keel. It had this steel millings mixed with cement. There have been a lot of boats that had problems with that, so I went ahead and jackhammered it out and went back with lead. And in fact, I used bullets from a decommissioned military base. Bullets are lead, we ran it through a rotary mill to pull out a rotary magnet to pull out any steel that was in it. And there's some brass in there, but it doesn't matter. And when I went back, and that's actually a photo of the top of the keel, by the way, it kind of looks cool. Because lead weighs more than steel, it's not as tall, so I have more space in those compartments now. So these two center mechanical departments here, these are the tubes that houses the batteries and the generator, that sort of thing. In the forward is solely electronic. There is no water, not a hull penetration or water that passes through directly in those compartments. And that's where I house the 4 battery banks, the house battery, and the main motor, and its controls. If you notice, most of that stuff sits below the water line, so it helps out with the stability. And the weight of the batteries and all the stuff they're adding is pretty much exactly like what came out of it. I didn't include things like the weight of fuel filters and things like that as I was ripping out, nor did I add including the weight of controllers and stuff, because I didn't nearly know what that's going to be just yet because I haven't purchased them. But it's going to be, as you can tell, it's going to be very much in the same ballpark. So the aft compartment there is where the generator and anything that has water involved is going to be housed. Obviously that space will have hull penetrations, and I kind of misspoke that the main motor in the electrical room will be water cooled. So there'll be a bulkhead fitting going through that bulkhead into the motor, then back out, but the pump and everything, the radiator or anything else that's associated, actually not a radiator, it's a heat exchanger, it's going to be located there in the generator room, because I don't want anything water associated with the batteries and the controls. All the airspace, all the air that's fed into both these are going to be HEPA filtered to help remove salt out of the air, and both these will be clean spaces. And the weight is about the same. I mean, we removed a 120-gallon water tank, and the time you add that and the sewer equipment and the miscellaneous stuff, it equals up to the same as a wash. So we're right in line as far as weight is concerned. Well, I hope that answered most of your questions. I know that some of you probably wanted a little more detail, but I can't give that detail right now until I actually get into those discrete components. I'm still installing windows and doing glass work, but I do feel pretty good about that 180 kilowatt hours. I think that's going to get us our easy 80%, the Pareto principle. 80% of everything we need is going to probably be met by that. And then as we move to the last 20%, it'll take other things to make that happen. So we'll talk more about that later. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time on Project Planetree.